busted Susan Rice caught in another outright lie. Only 4, not 17 agencies agreed on Russian hacking assessment. Gateway pundit, the Obama administration's national security advisor, Susan Rice, is caught in another lie. Rice is famous for sharing on numerous mainstream media, MSM outlets, that the attack and murder of 4 Americans in Benghazi was the direct result of a video. This was a lie.
But based on the best information we have to date, what our assessment is as of the present is in fact what it began spontaneously in Benghazi as a reaction to what had transpired some hours earlier in Cairo, where, of course, as you know, there was a violent protest outside of our embassy sparked by this hateful video. But soon after that spontaneous protest began outside of our consulate in Benghazi, we believe that it looks like extremist elements, individuals joined in that effort with heavy weapons of the sort that are unfortunately readily now available in Libya post-revolution, and that it spun from there into something much, much more violent.
But you do not agree with him that this was something that had been plotted out several months ago?
We do not have information at present that leads us to conclude that this was premeditated or pre-planned.
Obama's Rice is now guilty of another significant lie. This time it is about the fake Russia story. Today, the New York Times quietly issued a correction about their claim that all 17 U.S. intelligence agencies agreed that the Russians hacked the 2016 presidential election. The real number is only 4 agencies held such views. The New York Times finally admitted that the story that all 17 U.S. intelligence agencies concurred on the assessment of Russian hacking of Democratic emails is false. The Times released a White House memo on June 25th where correspondent Maggie Haberman mocked Trump for still refusing to acknowledge a basic fact agreed upon by 17 American intelligence agencies that he now oversees. Russia orchestrated the attacks and did it to help get him elected. On Thursday, the Times appended a correction to a June 25th article that had repeated the false claim, which had been used by Democrats and the mainstream media for months to brush aside any doubts about the foundation of the Russiagate scandal and portray President Trump as delusional for doubting what all 17 intelligence agencies supposedly knew to be true. However, on Thursday, the Times, while leaving most of Haberman's ridicule of Trump in place, noted in a correction that the relevant intelligence assessment was made by 4 intelligence agencies: the Office of the Director of National Intelligence and the Central Intelligence Agency, the Federal Bureau of Investigations, and the National Security Agency. The assessment was not approved by all 17 organizations in the American intelligence community. Susan Rice reported on MSNBC that all 17 agencies came together on the Russia assessment. See video below. At 1444 mark, Rice promoted another lie for the Obama administration.
Allegation or moniker that some might apply to me.
Rand Paul is suggesting that you be subpoenaed to testify.
All right.
Would you be willing to go to Capitol Hill?
You know, Andrea, let's see what comes. I'm not going to, sit here and prejudge. But what I will say is that the investigations that are underway as to the Russian involvement in our electoral process are very important. They're very serious. And every American ought to have an interest in those investigations going wherever the evidence indicates they should. And I have an interest in that as an American citizen, as a former U.S. official. I would want to be helpful in that process if I could.
Do you regret that the Obama White House did not decide earlier to blow the whistle on the Russians before the election?
We did blow the whistle on the Russians
7th.
on October 7th, and that came as soon as the intelligence community and all of its component parts, 17 agencies, came to a consensus conclusion that we took the extraordinary step of making public that the Russian government at the highest levels was involved in an effort to play in our electoral process. That information was put out to the American people in a statement from the Director of National Intelligence and the Secretary of Homeland Security. Very unusual act designed to put on notice the American people, the secretaries of our 50 states, whose responsibility it is to protect the integrity of our electoral infrastructure, and to members of Congress who had been previously briefed as well on the import of this. So we did, in fact, put that information out as early as we had that consensus view with confidence, high confidence, and that was necessary and the right thing to do.
Do you know how President Obama feels about the accusation that he eavesdropped?
I haven't had that conversation with him.
And finally, do you think we'll ever get to the bottom of the Russian hacking?
I think we have to, Andrea. This is something very, very serious. A hostile government inserted itself into our electoral process in a significant way, in doing so with biased intent, and that's the conclusion of our intelligence agencies. We also know they're meddling in elections in Europe among our close allies. It's important that the American people understand this, and it's important that we improve our defenses against this kind of effort in the future, because if we don't, we should well assume that they will continue to try to do so.
Susan Rice, thank you very much.
Hey there, Chris Hayes from MSNBC. Thanks for watching.
This is what they push to the liberals. That, in other words, Trump wasn't elected president by the people. It was a hostile Russian government that intervened and changed the votes. You see what I'm trying to say? The liberals, this is what they want to believe, and this is what they're dishing out, and then you wonder why there's riots in the street. And meanwhile, Russia had nothing to do with getting Trump elected. The American people voted for Trump. I mean, do you see what they're doing and how they're inciting this animosity amongst everybody? And these are the criminals in charge. Let us know what you think in the comments below, and thank you so much for watching.